Hello and welcome to today's LOL Esports Roundup. We're going to cover the pair of series from the LCK earlier today. LCS is going on right now, Dignitas TSM. It's game 4. I will be doing that recap tomorrow's video, as has been the case with the LCS the entirety of this channel. And then sneak peek for tomorrow, LCK and LCS. So, 248, 123 in predictions, went 1-1 on the day. I thought Brion would beat DRX. It was not the case, as DRX are 5-12, still have a chance to go to Worlds. Brion 4-13 are eliminated. Fate MVP 11-2-17, 34% of damage. Paddock 14-2-12. Karis 4-8-5, 30% of damage in the loss. So game 1, very active actually for a Brion game, and that's why Brion lost 2-0. I mean, in theory, DRX just set a pace that Brion cannot keep up with. A well-timed roam by Fate just into the bot side river really provided DRX with an opportunity to get a lead. His Ahri was on point. His charms were really good. Rascal coming through big throughout this 2-game set as well. I think he played Renekton and Jax, Fate, Ahri, and Jace. Paddock coming through, though, on the Kesa. When he played that, Kesa obviously OP right now. For LNG fans, that makes a lot of people happy as far as Worlds is concerned. But, yeah, I mean, Brion just looked like crap today. I thought that DRX would be, because DRX continue to go back and forth between Krakow and Juhan, and I sense dysfunction where Brion is kind of set in their ways of what 5 players they want to play with, despite the way the split's going. And I thought, a team with more consistency has a better chance. It just wasn't the case. Henna and Effort, Effort had some, I thought Effort's impact on this series is not felt as much as it probably should be. I thought he did some good things at points. But Beryl really shined on the Rakan in game 1. I thought, really, honestly, if he didn't go in 1 or 2 times too many, I would say that maybe he was MVP for game 1. But Fate in game 2 really came through clutch, where I felt like Beryl on the Alistar wasn't as strong. So with that in mind, I ended up going with DRX. But Brion did have some leads in this series. You can't take that away from him. I believe they were ahead at some point. So, 2 bad teams. Let's just put it that way. HLE, Genji. Genji win 2-0. They go to 16-1. HLE 11-6. Chovy was my MVP. Doran 10-7-16, 30% of damage. He played Rumble and Jax. Pays 16-3-16. He almost got another penta for my player pool. That would have been great. But he had a Quadra in game 2 on the Kesa and died. Viper 6-9-8, 33% of damage in the loss. His HLE really struggled in game 2. Game 1, well, actually, was game 2 when they opened up a big lead? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Game 1, Gen G were in a good spot, just in an even kill state. Like Peanut had been able to invade Grizzly successfully, and the state of the draft just allowed Gen G to get out to an early lead, and it was close for a while, if I recall. It was, and HLE got out to a lead. And the reason why I made Chovy MVP was because Chovy's Tristana came through in key team fights. One sticking out to me in the bot side, I think it was around a Drake. He ended up with a double or a triple kill. And that allowed them to crawl back into the game. And then it was pretty close for a while, but Chovy still came through on the Tristana, getting multiple multi-kill moments alongside Pays, who gets his KDA brought up on here, and Doran out-damaged Chovy because Doran got to play the Rumble in game 1 and just lay down equalizers and layers of damage. But I thought Chovy on the Tristana was really good, and then in game 2, I thought Pays was the carry on Kesa. He was disgusting all over the place. But I'm trying to think if HLE got out to a lead in game 2 or game 1. It was a monster. You know what, more I think about it, I think HLE got out to a big lead in game 1. Chovy brings them back on the Tristana. And that's why he ends up being MVP, because game 2, Pays was dominant on the Kesa. and I feel like that was from start to finish. So that makes sense why it was the case, because HLE got, like, I want to say it was like 6-0 in kills. Like, they were very active, despite Peanut getting that early jungle gap. It just didn't end up coming to fruition, and Chovy ended up having to do the work. I'm a little all over the place if you haven't noticed. Yeah, I mean, this was a closer 2-0 than I would say DRX Brian. But at the same time, you know, between D plus HLE and T1, we have 3 big question marks. It's Gen G and KT at the top, and then the other 3 are kind of like battling for who's third, who is the most consistent, and it's hard to really tell. I mean, Viper going 698, that's not great. Zeka, he was able to feed his KDA and stats because of kills around the Nexus, you know, when Genji are trying to dive. So with that in mind, I could say that maybe his stats are a little inflated. Kingen and Doran, I mean, Kingen had some good moments on a K-Sante, but I thought Doran was the better of the 2 throughout this one. So, I mean, you know, it was pretty, for being 2 top 10 teams, it didn't feel like it all that much at times. Sneak peek for tomorrow: LCK T1 Live Sandbox. T1 8-9 coming off of a win against Kwangdong Freaks. Live Sandbox 5-11 coming off of a win against Brion. Last time they played, T1 would win 2-0. Faker led the way, 8-5-14, 28% of damage. Closer 5-5-11, 28% of damage in the loss. Nongshim KT, Nongshim 5-12, coming off of a loss to D+, KT 15-1, coming off of a win against T1. Last time they played, KT won 2-0. BDD 8-4-22, 30% of damage. Fiesta 5-7-6, 26% of damage in the loss. Lastly, LCS TL 100 Thieves, only citing the second matchup because APA played in that one, where the first one APA did not, and frankly, I don't think Quid did either. So TL won. They're 10-8. 100 Thieves 7-11. Summit went 7-3-6, 32% of damage on a Rumble. Someday 1-2-1, 15% of damage on a Renekton in that one. So we'll see how that mid lane matchup goes. That's the one to watch. APA versus Quid, 2 rookies. Not to mention, I do believe there is something to be said about that bot lane matchup: Double Lift versus Core JJ, Yeon versus Busio. It'll definitely be a series to watch. So yeah, that's it for the roundup. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter. Hope to see you again tomorrow.